Okay, so finally today, this all looks great, but it's looking a bit kind of new and polished and shiny. And I think the original one, I said we'd add a bit of light green to it to give it a more kind of a algae or moss weathered look. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to the shading tab. Just go full screen on this shader. And what I want to do is mix some green in. Okay, now if I mix it in before the shader, I don't use a mix shader, I use a mix RGB. So Shift A and under color, mix RGB. Okay, if we look at this mix node first of all, we've got two color inputs. We can use the color that's going to the pencil for one of them, and the other we could change to a green, a moss color. So I'm just going to drop this in here. So the texture comes to color 1. Color 2 I could change here. Alternatively, what I could do is add an input, is it? An RGB input. And that gives me my color wheel up here. So I'll just connect that into the bottom. Alright, and what I can do is I can choose a kind of a dark green colour. Right, so what's going to be the controlling part here is the factor. So let me go back to the 3D view, and you can see this is supposedly half green and half the colour. But I can change the factor in, or change the factor down, just to introduce hints of that green. Okay, probably somewhere about there. But because it's weathered, it's probably too shiny. Let's turn that specular down a bit. I want a little hint of specular somewhere. Somewhere about there. Okay, and then I could play with this factor again. Introduce a bit more green and kind of mossy look to it, or less, whatever suits the application that I'm using. Somewhere about there. Let's have a look at this in full screen again, and there you go. That's a lot more kind of weathered looking than the original one. If we go back and just compare that to the original one again, which basically if I plug that into there, that'll be the original. Okay, so that's the an easy way to kind of tone that down and add a bit of dirt, a bit of moss to it. Let's add a touch more. There we go. Alright, so that's it for this week really. Like I say, you can play around with these colours. You can mix in more of them to get different looks, and basically kind of make any kind of shade of stone that you want, this kind of granity fleckled stone, and it works quite well.